Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the U.S.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome to the nation's capital. We're on Capitol Hill, a few yards, a couple of hundred yards away from where glorious ACB is in the process of being confirmed by the United States Senate Subcommittee, I guess, today. We're going to get this done here quickly, and we need it. We need a ninth justice on the Supreme Court. It's Thursday, the 22nd of October, year of our Lord 2020, debate night tonight. So much breaking news overnight. John Fredericks Radio Network, Real America's Voice, Dish Channel 219, Comcast Channel 113, also Newsmax TV and 70 million homes, and, of course, in G News GTV. Packed show today. We got Matthew Tierman's going to be on, the investigative reporter on from Chicago. He's going to tell us where his witness is. The Bureau of Prisons somehow has Bevan Cooney incommunicado with the investigative reporters. We're going to find all about that. Liz, you're also from Chicago, talking about the Vatican. The official hostile takeover of the official hostile takeover of the Vatican by the Chinese Communist Party today. They're signing that deal. She's also a prosecutor of child exploitation. She's one of the top child protection services lawyers and prosecutors in the country of trafficking in children. She's going to be here talking about the Bidens, okay? And we got Dr. Yan. CNN put out a hit piece yesterday. It was a hit piece that didn't really hit, but we got Dr. Yan to come back quickly today for Punchback to show CNN doesn't know what they're talking about. And if you don't think it's some sort of bioweapon or tied to some sort of non-natural, it didn't come out of a wet market. Look at the headline in today's Financial Times of London. China steals march on U.S. with COVID vaccine supply diplomacy. There's no conspiracy, but also no conspiracy, but also no conspiracy, but there's also no coincidences. Always remember that. No conspiracy, but no coincidences. We give you the tomorrow's news today, the signal, not the noise. You're like sitting in the morning call for a hedge fund, right? Got Dave Ramaswamy as our co-host on our 1-year anniversary. Yesterday was practice, today's real. Bernie Carrick yesterday, Dave Ramaswamy today. That's because we had a vote of the audience, and they said it was Ramaswamy. We got Tierman, Yor, Jan, but we want to start with the star of Borat subsequent movie film, the guy that took a terrible film and made it a global hit, the mayor, America's mayor, America's Churchill. And by the way, Bernie Carrick, Mayor, thank you. Bernie Carrick told an amazing story about you yesterday about the morning after 9/11 when he walks in to the police academy. You're there to give the pep talk, get everything organized. The city's in still a smoking ruin. You're eating out of a box of Cheerios, and you're reading a book on Churchill. And he says, because I'd equated you with Churchill, you're never going to give up. By the way, here's the thing. Listen, Mayor, the reason I wanted to start the show with you today, you're over the target. Here's why you're over the target. You innocently tuck in your shirt, and and the internet melts down. No, literally melts down. You made this guy, the second film, all the reviewers saying it's a stiff because it's not nearly as good as the first, although the title's amazing. Borat's subsequent movie film, now on Amazon. Rudy Giuliani, and I talked to the guys at the Daily Mail, some of the guys, they said the traffic on your lead story was amazing. And that was just but I'm glad we got it sorted. I'm glad Emily Smith and the people in the New York Post. So next time, let's make sure we tuck those shirts in before the interview, even when they take out that when they. Yes, sir.
You haven't seen my performance yet. I mean, I may get an Academy Award for a supporting role here. Don't you at least
get? I think you'll get a nomination. I think you'll get a nomination, at least nominated at the Independent Spirit Awards. The Independent Spirit Awards on the beach of Santa Monica. You'll be a big hit there. Okay, I want to get into the serious nature of this expanding scandal. Tony, and I want to pronounce this correctly. Tony Bobulinski, former naval officer. He's on the. This is a guy Fox. Bobulinski. This is the guy Fox checked with last week. He's all over these emails, ladies and gentlemen, and he ascertains these are not Russian intelligence operation. This was he's a copy to. And, of course, the Bidens are stiffing him. He's supposed to be their partner. The reason he's so infuriated, he's seen they're cutting all kind of deals behind his back with guys, even dirtier than the guys he's bringing to the table. You've got Matthew Tierman's guy, Bevan Conley, the Bureau of Prisons, Bevan Cooney, who's got 26,000 emails, working with Peter Schweitzer from Secret Empires, Matthew Tierman, investigative reporters. He's now missing in the prison system. Bureau of Prisons has decided the timing's perfect to move him so he can't talk to anybody, right? I'm sure it's for his protection. It has nothing to do with Joe Biden's protection. Look, I'm not a deep state guy, but there's a lot of moving pieces to this scandal. Mayor Giuliani, can you do a reset for us, frame it for the audience, where we stand today, and particularly Joe Biden? We don't have time to play. We're going to play next segment. She's on The View. They ask her, and she says, all I care about is my family. Where do we stand with the scandal about the underage girl? Where do we stand with the rest of the scandal, sir?
Well, I mean, first of all, I take all the credit for the FBI beginning the investigation yesterday. I mean, they had it for almost a year. And when I and Bernie brought it to the police in Delaware, the police in Delaware, of course, punted immediately to the FBI. And when the FBI saw it, I cannot tell you the leaks we got on the reaction inside the FBI office. They were in their pants. And they immediately found that this hard drive that they've had for 8 months not is relevant to a major money laundering investigation that they have going on. Of course it is, and it's the one that could involve upwards of $800 million, and it's the one that your guest later will know something about. And as to Mr. Cooney, I would be worried. I mean,
hold it before we go off there. You're saying the money laundering investigation that was also announced by the FBI. This is actually not related to the Chinese part of it. This is the one the Morgan Stanley or the big investment banks are somehow tied up with these guys in some massive money laundering scheme. Correct?
Only because the part of the hard drive I've been able to go through has relevant documents about that. Now, I just have to qualify that. There's another half of this to go. It may turn out that there are many documents relevant to the Chinese money laundering as well. But I think this has more to do with. I think that this has more to do with Russia. But we'll see.
All I'm saying for the audience is there's one big money laundering investigation already.
Correct.
Just as soon as they've got it, so that's starting. Okay, keep going.
The easier one is Bobulinski. Bobulinski was the CEO of one of their major companies. And he worked with them on a number of Chinese deals, could be as many as 12, in and out. So the question comes up, when Hunter Biden splits up the equity, on paper, big guy is not mentioned on the official papers. But in the unofficial papers, on this hard drive, there's 10% that H will take, as if it's his, but then give it to the big guy. So the question is, who's the big guy? Well, we know the big guy is Joe Biden. But Mr. Bobulinski puts that to bed 100%. He says he was the big guy. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew he was the guy running the operation. He was the only reason they had the operation, because China wanted his influence. They knew clearly what China was trying to do. China had already invested $1.5 billion in the Biden family with that crazy private equity company when Biden was vice president. Since they had bribed him as vice president, they wanted to make sure they hooked him up, hoping to become president. And why do you think China's working so hard to make him president? They made a big investment in him, maybe about $40 million. Now, for a guy who took money from any Chinese communist, 10% of $30 million is a lot of money. You're just disqualified from being president of the United States in this age. This would be as if during the Cold War you had taken $20 million from Russia or $20 million from China. Not only would you have been president, you've been in jail. So we got to get this through the American people. This isn't partisan. This is about our country. This affects our national security dramatically.
Hang on, I just want to set here though. FBI's announced they've begun a money laundering investigation. Should have done it 9 months ago. We'll get to that in a second. But they've officially started it. It's dealing with major U.S. investment banks. It's not specifically related to China. It's related to other parts, probably be Eastern Europe, maybe Russia. Major U.S. investment banks involved. Also, the guy that really was the CEO of the operation, the guy really pulled it together, Bo Belinsky, put out, first off, he admitted to Fox the other day, the email was correct, the equity split. He's now going to detailed, essentially affidavit or statement that the New York Post has put up that said the emails are all accurate. I was part of this,
yes.
And the Bidens are up to the neck of it. And even more importantly, Joe Biden would sit there and give advice, that Joe Biden was on conference calls, that Joe Biden would give advice. Joe Biden is absolutely named by a eyewitness. This is not circumstantial evidence. It's an eyewitness said, I was on there. He talked about it. This guy, Joe Biden was the big guy, the equity split, and he said he was advised on other deals, right? Which we're going to get back to the Sioux in a second. But so that's Bo Belinsky. Where else? Okay, so that's two major pieces. What else is going on in the investigation?
Well, Bo Belinsky had a partner, Gilliers. Unofficially, I think he's pretty much in the same position. So I think you may, by the end of the day or tomorrow, have two witnesses that corroborate the fact that Joe Biden committed a massive federal crime. I don't know what else more.
And what is that? Hold on. Gilliard is another senior consultant that is, we know from very reliable sources, is either in the process or about to sign an affidavit that's just as brutal as Bo Belinsky's. He's another guy that's in this, and another guy that's in the equity cut up. But, Mayor, when you say massive crime here, massive financial crime, federal crimes, felonies, how is Joe Biden hooked up in that? I understand how Hunter's hooked up in that, and how Bo Belinsky's hooked up in that, and how maybe Gilliard. How is Joe Biden hooked up in that?
Well, first of all, Joe Biden is hooked. If Joe Biden is hooked to Hunter on all these deals, which Hunter says when he says that he gets half of all the deals for the last 30 years, then the payment that China made, that $1.5 billion, is definitely a bribe. Particularly when you combine it with the fact that it was paid while he was undertaking very important responsibilities for the United States against China and failing. That's a out-and-out bribery case. Ukraine is an out-and-out bribery case. This third one, although he's not in office, if this money is given in anticipation of his going into office, which I think he could easily prove from the Chinese side, well, then that happens to be a fraud. And also, I think when you get into this company was doing a lot of fraud. This company was not a legitimate operation. A lot of businesses, a lot of deals, a lot of strange little complaining texts here from people who felt their money was taken from them. One guy lost a huge amount of money. Just a little bit of time, and this is going to be a fraud. Now, Hunter Biden, James Biden, and Joe have been involved with 4 different people who were involved as partners in their various scammy companies who have done Ponzi schemes. In each case, the person was prosecuted, and Hunter and James were left out of the prosecution. There are 4 of them. Also, Devin Archer, his partner for 8 years, has been prosecuted and convicted. And everybody wonders, how was Hunter left out of it? I have a guess how Hunter was left out of it. Hunter's escaped prosecution on this email, on the email trail and text trail here, at least 8 times, where he should have been prosecuted. The guy next to him goes to jail for Ponzi scheme. The guy next to him goes to jail for securities fraud in the business he was involved in. And somehow, the prosecutor sees the name Biden and says, oh, gee, I guess we won't prosecute him. There's a very, very good text message from Devin Archer that makes that point, saying we always have to take the rap.
Mayor, can we keep you? I know your staff's doing a great job of keeping you moving. Can we keep you for hold you over for
one more, sure.
3 minutes
sir.
On the other side? Yes,
yeah.
Perfect. Thank the team. Okay, take a short commercial break. America's mayor, the individual put the 5 families away, put the mafia away, put the Wall Street mafia away. It's going to return. We're going to talk about the sex crimes that are staring the Bidens in the face, the entire family. when we return on War Room Pandemic. Dave Ramaswamy, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassan, Bannon.
America's favorite easy on, easy off energy compression socks just got better. Introducing Copperfit Energy Plus, the world's first graduated compression socks with a rich blend of ingredients found in the top moisturizing lotions and creams. These microencapsulated ingredients are infused into the compression fabric and are gradually released and absorbed by your movement. Motion-activated technology designed to hydrate and soften for all-day comfort. The more you move, the more Copperfit Energy Socks delivers.
I'm not thinking about that I have compression socks on. That simple fact that they feel better with them on than with them off makes me love these socks.
Our most advanced copper-infused compression fabric, made in FDA-approved manufacturing facilities, woven into our Easy On, Easy Off graduated compression sock to help reduce swelling and discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I feel that soothingness in my calves and in my ankles, but they can make my feet feel good after 300 miles on the road, and they got to be good for anybody else.
Enhanced compression around the arch and ankles for extra support and relief of muscle aches and pains. And a soft, shock-absorbing footbed for all-day comfort.
All that arch pain that I typically have is just relieved.
They are super comfortable.
They do the job. They're easy and they're effective. That's the whole point of wearing them.
Commercials always promise, promise, promise. This was something easy to try. Just put on a sock, see if it works. I have to say that I'm a fan.
The first ever Easy On, Easy Off compression socks with hydrating ingredients worn by thousands of essential workers across the U.S. Order your Energy Plus compression socks online now at GetEnergyPlus.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-515-8892. Order right now and get a second pair free.
I get compression, I get comfort, all in one sock.
Motorcycle guys appreciate the better technology. This is better technology.
Feel the power of Copperfit.
When severe weather breaks, count on Weather Nation. In-depth coverage throughout the U.S. From your small town to the big city. Before, during, and after the storm. Weather Nation is here to keep you safe. When weather breaks, count on Weather Nation. Your streaming weather network with weather information you can depend on. Weather, it's what we do.
Hey America, get ready. It's finally here. Download the Real America's Voice app now. The Real America's Voice latest Roku app gives you free, exclusive content, including your favorite shows, both live and on demand, along with today's top stories. Don't just watch. Download now and make a difference. Text APP to 888-111 to download the Real America's Voice app.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
We have called for, since last Thursday when the New York Post story broke, for either the Rudy Giuliani said first that Wray should resign. I say he should be fired if he couldn't answer the questions. The Washington Post broke a big scoop that the president's thinking about Wray. Note to Washington Post, you got to get an intern to start watching the show because you're missing something. That's not a scoop. That's stale, right? I got a scoop for you, though. I think the interim, they're going to fire Wray. Wray's done. This thing last night about going to talk about Russia, that was an insurance policy of Wray. I don't know what Radcliffe is doing about Iran's got the Proud Boys and sending emails. It's all nonsense, right? That's nonsense. This was to get Wray up there to talk Russia so he can't be fired. No, sir. Chris Christie's candidate, Wray, who have been a disaster, another Chris Christie disaster, right? The Trenton Mafia, right? Your days are numbered. You're going to be fired. You can take that to the bank and cash it. You're going to be fired, okay? You're going to be fired. I'm going to break some news here. I think the interim director of the FBI is going to be Rudy Giuliani, and his wingman is going to be Rick Grinnell. They have a systemic problem, and they need to be hit with a blowtorch. There's some good agents. Bernie Kerik says there's some good guys in the field, but there's something systemically wrong with this thing. They've had this for 9 months, and they start a money laundering investigation yesterday, or they say it's tied to some money laundering investigation. No, there's so much things worse here than a $800 million or $800 billion, money laundering scheme with investment banks. Yeah, that's the normal course of business for investment banks. You should get into that, should get into the details. There's crimes throughout this thing. There are evident crimes throughout this thing. You should have been on this. This should have come out in December last year. Donald J. Trump would not have been impeached. The country could have focused on the pandemic. And Bernie Sanders, or Pocahontas, would have been the Democratic nominee. And we could have had a real argument between left-wing populism and right-wing populism. Right? No, but here's what we got. Neoliberal, neocon, and Ray, you're a total disaster. That performance last night, you can't run and hide behind the Russians. This thing's not going to work. Not going to work. There's too much evidence here. It's just nuts, okay? You can take the Brennan and all that stuff, and it's not going to work. I only got the mayor for a certain amount of time, the new interim, soon to be the interim head of the FBI. That'll make them meltdown, right? They're in meltdown right now. Madeline Peltz, Media Matters, you heard it first. Get a scoop in the Washington Post, big scoop. People are saying Ray's going to be fired. That was a week ago. You should be wrapping fish in that last Friday and Saturday. Okay, let's go to Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mayor Giuliani, of all the crimes here, all this stuff has got to be worked on. The Chinese, the money laundering, the other crimes, the buying of access, the Frank Luntz sellout of Paul Ryan. Oops, I guess that's not a crime. And by the way, there's so much of that stuff in here that we'll all be releasing too. But the thing that is most serious is the protection of the young children, and particularly the young girl that's identified here. Why you guys schlepped down to Delaware the other day and get this off? I thought when I read Delaware law and I read us law, and the people that saw it over the weekend said you got to go right away, the professionals. Why are we on now a Thursday and nothing's happened? And Jill Biden can go on The View. We're going to play her in the next segment. She goes on The View and just dismisses, the number one thing in my life is my family. Well, ma'am, I got to tell you, we got 25,000 images. A note to self. The family's off the rails, okay, with crack cocaine and other forms of depravity. Rudy, where do we stand with actually authorities getting into and trying to protect this young woman? Or girl,
right now, we're in
child?
What I would call law enforcement punt. So we gave it to the Delaware authorities. They could have immediately exercised jurisdiction, gone to that home, done an inspection, brought in children's services, find out why Joe and Jill Biden never, ever reported any of this, even though they have a text from the main guy saying, almost asking for help, I constituted a very dangerous situation for the children. Well, you got to find out what that dangerous situation is. You get a little help from pictures of the underage girls in the federal section. You get a lot of help from all the depraved and perverted sex he engages in and takes pictures of and seems to enjoy watching. So you got a little help there. It's not like in the blind. And any human being in America would be at least arrested and questioned about this. Except it's the Biden children at stake. No, we got to protect the Biden. And they punted to the FBI, who's been protecting the Bidens for 9 months. They had the same photos, and they didn't do anything. So far, they are investigating an $800 million money laundering situation. That'll take them 10 years to investigate. Plus, they have text and pictures that demand investigation, and they have 3 conspiracies amounting to about $34 million, where I could do a RICO indictment for them in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. You hire me, they'll be indicted in 3 weeks. And I could have done it 2 years ago.
The financial crimes are one thing, and the financial crimes have to be exposed to the American people now, and I hope the president does the job I think he will do tonight, Biden campaign. Their financial crimes are horrific because they sold out the country. But it is the crimes, the other crimes that need to be not investigated. They have to be investigated, but you need an intervention to make everything's okay, right? Where are we in the process? Okay, but there is a question about that. The question about that is, has that intervention, have you and Bernie Kerik contacted Delaware authorities, knowing that you're reading the paper and hearing from them, they gave it to the Attorney General, who's a complete Biden hack? Got to remember, put it in perspective. Delaware as a state, and I love Delaware, nice state, Rehoboth Beach, driving through there, it's been irrelevant since it signed the Constitution, right? It's just a tiny little state. It's the global corporate headquarters. They think they're 10 days away or 11 days away from taking charge of the most powerful country on earth and everybody making buku money. This is like Clinton in Arkansas, and Little Rock getting close to the presidency. That's why they're freezing up there. But you and Bernie Kerik can drive the program. You dropped off the initial thing just because some attorney general says kick it to the FBI. Why are we just assuming the FBI, who's done everything, been a disaster? Why would you assume that they're going to get something done now? Are you trying to Are you still trying to be a forcing function on this?
Yes, but we don't have much leverage. They have a right to do that. They have a right to refer it to the FBI. Generally, a local police department would take action immediately to secure the children and then refer it to the FBI. But they did it they did the punt. The children are last here. I mean, what are they all thinking about? How to protect Biden, how to protect themselves. The kids, which is exactly the priority that Jill and Joe Biden had. The minute his son said to him, I endanger the children, why doesn't this man do something about it? And what kind of man is he if he doesn't do something about it? What kind of man gets his son involved in all this criminal behavior when he's a fragile drug addict? When I look at Hunter Biden's drug problem, I blame it on Joe Biden. 100%.
Why do you do that? Why?
I do that because a long time ago, this problem emerged. And his father, if he was a loving father, had one direction to go. And his father, if he was a narcissist who only cared about his own power and money, had another way to go. And he picked the second. One way to go is get him in rehab and keep him away from this dirty, disgusting, horrible, pressured business that he's in. And let him get a nice job in a law firm or someplace and stay in rehabilitation all his life. The other thing is to put him in with Mykola Zlochevsky, Elena Buturina, Xi Jinping, the nephew.
Okay, so your theory of the case, I just want to make sure I understand. Your theory of the case is by taking him on Air Force Two, putting him in, and people have to understand, these are the most dangerous folks on earth. The guys running China Energy are CCP intelligence operatives. They're not there to be your friend. They're getting information on you all the time. The guys in Ukraine are even worse, if that can be believed. You're saying at the highest level in the world, with the most dangerous people in the world that always have ulterior motives, you're sending out essentially a pilgrim, right, who has a massive problem, and that massive problem, he's a junkie, as Bernie Kerik says. This is not, by the way, this is not about the morality of Hunter Biden. It's not about Hunter Biden. This is about a national security issue, but a guy who, your theory of the case is essentially broken by this process of being the bag man for the Biden family. Is that what you're saying, Mayor?
I know this life. I know what it does to even healthy people in a life like this. When you go into a life like this and you're already impaired, you have no chance. And there are two main issues here. One main issue is this was a tremendous impact on the national security of the United States, and it continues to be. This guy is a sitting duck for the Chinese communists. A sitting duck. It's like giving him a gift. What did the Obama administration do about it in all the years that he was in contact with China and a major drug addict? Are there any reports, intelligence reports? Did Brennan and Clapper care about it? Or did they cover it up and impair our national security even more? And we can't let that go forward in the Biden presidency. I mean, this is a major national security problem, even more than it is a financial crimes problem. And then, if you want to get on the personal side, what father would do this to his son? Except one who is focused, laser-like, on money and power. Sick.
Mayor, I want to thank you, and I want to thank your team for carving out time for us. The audience, you're a beloved figure. And remember, the reason they're coming after you so hard is that you're over the target, and you're doing something that takes real courage. It's very easy to look the other way. It's very easy not to care. It's very easy. You can go back and make a lot of money. It's very easy. But you're a beloved figure, and you're Churchillian in your steadfastness to stand up for this country. You're the definition of an American patriot. And everybody in this show, everybody in our audience loves you. And so remember, you've got prayer, support, all of it, 24/7.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, the hero of 9/11. We're going to return. Finally going to let our co-host, Dave Ramaswamy, who's not a silent guy, chip in here next as we do some analysis and observations on this massive story.
Hello, I'm William Shatner, and you may not know this about me, but years ago, I was diagnosed with a sleep disorder. And like millions of others, I was prescribed sleep equipment. Did you know sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning? That's why I use SoClean 2. It's the perfect complement to my daily routine, and it's hassle-free. SoClean 2 is fast and easy. It keeps my sleep equipment fresh every day without the need for disassembly. To keep the immune system strong, we should do everything we can to ensure a good night's sleep, including using the SoClean 2 daily to keep sleep equipment fresh. Try SoClean 2 risk-free for 30 nights. Order now and get $50 off. SoClean 2 is so fast and gives you peace of mind that your sleep equipment is fresh each time you use it. Call the number on your screen or go to SoClean2.com to take advantage of this risk-free trial and get $50 off. Call now.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow, towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept.
I really love the towels. They're really great. They're super absorbent.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. The new MyPillow towels are exclusively made with 100% USA combed cotton with proprietary technology and with maximum absorbency. They dry you faster and are guaranteed to work. And listen to this. Use the promo code on your screen and Mike will include a second full towel set with bath towel, hand towel, and washcloth absolutely free. That's 2 MyPillow towel sets for the price of 1 in your choice of color.
I personally guarantee they're going to be the best towels you'll ever own.
Order now.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll, whether for yourself or someone you love. Call the number on the screen now. Call now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Mr. Biden, your husband showed remarkable restraint that night when Trump repeatedly attacked your son and disrespected your family. And I've spent a little bit of time with you, and I know how important your family is to you, and I know how protective you are over them. Now, he continued those attacks at rallies, encouraging the crowd to lock Joe up. And on Monday, he claimed that there's some sort of story on the way about a scandal involving your family that will, quote, make him almost an impotent candidate. How do you feel about these constant personal attacks, and how do you respond to them?
You know, as a mother, I mean, I don't like to see my son attacked, and certainly I don't like to see my husband attacked. But for me, or to me, these are distractions. I mean, this election is not about Joe Biden or Jill Biden or Kamala or Doug. It is about the American people. The American people don't want to hear these smears against my family. The American people are struggling right now. I mean, they're in the midst of all this chaos. They're trying to figure out how to put food on the table. You know, they don't have jobs. They need health care. Americans don't want to hear this. And that's why I thought Joe did such a great job at the debate because he addressed the issues. He talked directly to the American people and said, this is what I will do as your president. And Donald Trump just ranted, and I don't even know what he was doing up there. So this time, the debate commission has said that they will mute the mics, and they'll each get their 2 minutes to speak. And so the American people will clearly see their choice.
I happen to disagree with Joe Biden. I think the American people are going to be very concerned about this. Since you're in the war room and we're trying to do a level of sophistication, that she's prepped by the team, the comms team, to not answer the question, just pivot back, always make it about the American people, it's your jobs. It's not going to work. Yeah, the Clintons tried that. A lot better and tougher than you. This is what I keep saying. The Bidens are soft targets. They're not hardened. The Clintons have gone to the mattresses so many times. Hillary Clinton's tough as boot leather, okay? She had gone to the mattresses over decades, living with Bill Clinton, right? She and they had a team of bad hombres around them. The problem with the Bidens is that you have two soft targets that have never been, during the Obama years, Obama took all the heat. They never took any heat, never took in 47 years up there in Delaware. And his team's a bunch of pie. He's a pie, and the team's a bunch of pies. That pivot, ma'am, not going to work. American people are going to be very interested in this, very interested in this. And it's not going to end on November 3rd. It's not just going to magically go away. These are deep and serious issues. People that have seen this material, of which now, they don't even say, now it's smears. It's not even... It's Russian, what is it? What's it?
Compromat.
Compromise. They're not even say that. They're not even saying that anymore because they know that one can't last because they now got affidavits. They got guys that are on the email chain. They got the FBI says the Sun is saying that the Sun in London is saying that they got a guy in the FBI saying they're absolutely investigating off of the hard drive information in money laundering, criminal activity. It's criminal activity up here. There's been tons of professionals that have looked at this for financial crimes. So no, ma'am, that's not going to, that can get you off the View because they're not going to ask a tough follow-up question. But for the staff of Biden's campaign, this is deeper than the campaign. This is going to go a lot. This is going to go way past November 3rd. Whatever the outcome on November 3rd is, I happen to think it's going to be a Trump victory. I happen to think one of the reasons it's going to be a Trump victory is this. Biden peaked a little too early. He did 3 conversions. He peaked a little too early. He doesn't have a real ground game. They got tons of money. The cash differential may make the difference. And people are now actually focusing on this. And, ma'am, you're going to get weighed and measured. No, the American people, in knowing that it's about the country, not about them personally. It's about the country. They're selecting the leader of the country. American people are not self-centered. That's kind of a self-centered. Oh, it's about them. Yes. Want to have an economy, want to have that. But your husband wants to be the chief magistrate, wants to be the commander-in-chief, wants to be president of the United States. You want to be the first lady to represent this country. And I think the American people have got to see the contents of your son's hard drive to weigh and measure if they think that that is a type of behavior that they want to see around the executive mansion in the White House. It's just, it's weigh and measure. So it's time to start addressing the issues. You can write this down. Donald J. Trump, I don't care how they're prepping him to talk about COVID and talk about the economy. He's going to get into all that because I think he's got a great story. He's going to let your husband finish. And you're not going to be there. Remember, in 2 minutes, that's more than 3 or 4 sentences. So he's going to be wandering, right? He's going to be wandering. But, no, I think that this is going to be a big subject. I think Trump's coming for this. I think your husband's going to have to answer. And the answers you give him past are lies. Your husband's things are lies. We know that the Burisma thing, the very first thing, Trump jammed him up at the first debate. That's a lie. They'll play that over and over again. They got a great advertisement they just put out, 30-second spot the Trump campaign made last night. Sure. So these are lies. The China thing's a lie. You've got a guy who's your partner, and he was the head guy. He's coming out with an affidavit. You got the other guy that's given 26,000 emails. You got Peter Schweitzer, one of the best investigative reporter. Bureau of Prisons now, a guy been hiding somewhere in solitary where he can't reach anybody. But that's all going to come out. It may be in solitary for a couple of days. Trust me. They'll spring him out of the Bureau of Prisons somewhere and get him talking to Matthew Tierman. Tierman's going to be on the show here later before we wrap up. It's all going to come out. Reince Priebus' great thing, he always told me, hey, it all comes out. So why don't you just fess up? Why don't you say, hey, look, the kid sold access, right? That's the kid's problem. But this thing of the pivot to Russia not going to work. It's a hard drive. It's got 25,000 emails. It's got 20,000 images. It's got sex tapes. It's got it's got 5 hours of audio. All your family. Okay? So that's not going to work. We can dump it all out, and then I think my recommendation is put it out there, let people see it.
Not to mention all the correspondence with the pros he was hiring. That's another.
That's another thing. Another thing. And then you've got the 26,000 emails from the guy that now the Bureau of Prisons has kind of put a lid on. But Tierman and Schweitzer will get him uncorked, and he's given. That's Bevan Cooney, and his tale is amazing. And now you have Gilliard, the other guy on the emails. My sources tell me, and they're pretty good, that Gilliard has either signed an affidavit or is close to signing an affidavit. And here's why. Just like Chris Hines, I want to get Chris Hines' affidavit. Let's get Chris Hines. Chris Hines got tons of emails on you. You got to step up here to the plate. Chris Hines, Bevan Cooney, Gilliard, the three amigos, okay? No need for you to take the fall because they want you to take a fall. No need for you to take the fall. And Joe Biden's got to understand these are not smears. These are your partner's affidavits, okay? Dave Ramaswamy, haven't heard your. I mean, I bring you on for your brilliance, and the special honor to have you on our first anniversary show because people love you so much. And here, I've hogged the mic. Raheem and Jack haven't gotten a word edgewise, but you're our co-host. Give us your perspective on this scandal. Since you're a finance guy, you've seen these emails. Is Rudy overselling this? Are these financial crimes the way you see it?
I mean, Rudy's totally spot on. I mean,
got to get closer to that mic.
For me, officially,
you're taking Jack Maxey's place now.
No, officially, it's now the bribe and Harris ticket, and you know, we always talk about.
Hold it, the bribe and Harris ticket.
Okay. You know, with the CCP virus and other viruses, you know, you talk about zoonotic jumping from animal to human transmission. But I think in this case, we have the first instance of viruses jumping from a hard drive to a human. I call it COVID-20. And I think one of the symptoms of this virus is, you know, corruption, criminality, and natural gas lighting. And this is what you're going to see play out in the days to come. And the Democrats have a big challenge on their hands, how to develop a vaccine against COVID-20 in 13 days. Good luck to them.
Well, how do you think you do it? Because right now you've got and you're a tech guy. You've got the oligarchs in Silicon Valley that are doing everything to shut this down. Although the story is the number one story in the world, right? And now you've got Daily Mail, you've got the Sun, you've got the muscle of the tabloids, and they have a lot of muscle of reaching people called voters, right? Voters aren't exactly reading the Wall Street Journal, right, or the Financial Times of London. You know, we read them, and there's obviously the elites read them, but it's principally you want to go to the Sun, you want to go to the New York Post. These are the Daily Mail. These are the biggest papers in the world and the biggest websites in the world. Now it's starting to get traction in the tabloids where the working class guy can read and go. Wow. And by the way, the reporting in these papers is fabulous. There's no real difference in fact, I think the reporting quality is maybe better. It's written in a little more accessible style. So do you think that the suppression by the oligarchs is going to keep this story down, or you think it would actually have an impact in the next 13 days?
I think the suppression is going to backfire. The classic Streisand effect. I mean, they've tried it before. Last week, or the story came out in the Post. They deplatformed the Post, you know, canceled their Twitter account, but the story went viral. And the more they try to suppress it, the bigger it'll get. As you know, the American people believe in free speech. Our big tech oligarchs, they believe in she speech, you know, speech that meets the standards of Xi Jinping. And the American people are not going to stand for it.
The Streisand effect, by the way, is where the thing that you try to not metastasize in that by your efforts to suppress it makes it the biggest story in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, this happened 15 years ago when Barbara Streisand tried to block photos of her Malibu mansion being published on the web. Yeah. And the very fact of her lawyers trying to block it made everybody look at it.
And so you have the Streisand effect. Raheem, where do you think we stand in the scandal? I now know that you're going through and looking at certain things, but where do you think we stand in the scandal? And is it starting? Because the criminality of it and the legal part are going to go far past November 3rd. Far past November 3rd. this is just the beginning because now they forced the FBI to look at it. But Raheem, where do you think we stand? Particularly, why did Ray stand up last night and give a thing that Russia's, with no evidence, nothing, that Russia's having some involvement off of some bizarro, Radcliffe, where I have a lot of time for, talking about Iran and a handful of emails on the Proud Boys, these bizarre emails?
First, let me just say this. I wish I hadn't seen some of the things I've seen as a result of all this. I think we all feel that way, and I think the American public are going to feel that way when all of this comes out. I think they're going to feel that way about this sort of activity being that close to the Oval Office. I think this harkens back. It harkens back to. I mean, this is what Clinton did in the Oval Office times a billion. Right, that's the potential that this has, and it's a damning indictment of the morality and the ethics here of the family. And here's the thing about it all: when you look through some of these details and some of the stuff from the Bevan Cooney side and all that, you start to realize this isn't Hunter, this isn't just Joe, this is the whole family. This is James Biden. This is all of them. That's, by the way, I don't even say Biden crime family. I say crime syndicate, because they're bringing in other people out from outside as well and kind of making them made men within the Biden crime syndicate, right?
Another regular on our show, Jack Posobiec, breaking news. Jack Posobiec just tweeted out, in an interview just taped for One American News that will play later in the day, it is revealed Hunter's laptop had, and I quote from the tweet, 40 to 50 images of alleged child endangerment on it that appeared to include a member of his family. I've just recorded the tweet. We'll get that retweeted. This is Jack Posobiec of One American News. This story is going to continue to have breaking news on it, every day, every second of every day, because there's so much wealth of material here between the hard drive from hell, the other 26,000 emails of a guy that's now buried somewhere in the Bureau of Prisons. Also, Bobolsky and James Gilliard, affidavits coming out. They're talking. Everybody's talking. The world's closing in on the Bidens, and they don't have a team that can go to the mattresses. They don't have the Clinton team. Clinton team were tough hombres. These are what we call pies. Atlantic Magazine saying it's psychological warfare, Donald Trump. We're going to talk about that when we return on War Room Pandemic.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared, just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
If you're over 50, imagine you could turn back the clock on your stiff, achy joints 10, even 20 years. Imagine you could do this without products that just temporarily hide the symptoms and may have side effects. Imagine no more. Get your complimentary sample of Instaflex Advanced just by texting JOINT to 231231. Instaflex Advanced is different because it targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness. It doesn't just cover up symptoms. Instead, it bathes your joints in its unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found in no other product. Key ingredients backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced is so powerful, you could have better knees in just 1 week. Maybe that's why it's #1 at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary sample by texting JOINT to 231231. Plus, text now and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream with its exclusive oxygenated oil for fast-acting relief from the pain of arthritis, backaches, and sore muscles, absolutely free. Text JOINT to 231231.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thursday, October 22nd, the year of our Lord 2020. I want to take a moment to thank our massively growing audience here on the live stream, on YouTube, on Facebook, on podcast. It's just blowing up right now, and we want to say a great big thank you to everybody who's joined us in the last couple of days as this story metastasizes and just gets bigger, way more bigger than you could ever possibly imagine over the next coming days. So you're going to want to stay tuned, and the way you can do that is to smash those subscribe buttons, those like buttons. Make sure that you search for Steve Bannon's War Room or War Room Pandemic across social media, and turn your notifications on. That way you don't miss anything, from clips to new live shows, and of course hit those subscribe buttons on YouTube and on the podcast, and leave us a review.
Well, on Roku and all the different, we're on Podbeam, I guess, every different thing. You get the podcast later in the day. We're also in Mandarin with G News GTV. Look, here's what we try to do on the show. We've done this consistently since we did the impeachment of the pandemic. We try to get the smartest people around and take the toughest problems and break it down. We're signal, not noise. We're not here to entertain you. We're not here to talk about all the stuff that guys chase all the time, which is fine. There's a lot of noise out there, and that noise has got to be chased, and there are people that do it perfectly, okay? We're not that. We're also not here to give you a pat on the head and tell you it's going to be better. We're not here to do that either. We're here to break down the most complicated stuff in the world, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a financial crisis, whether it's geopolitics, whether it's the Chinese Communist Party, and things like this scandal and the numbers and what's going to really happen in this campaign. And we pride ourselves in bringing in guys like Dave Ramaswamy and others who are guys nobody's ever heard of, but they come on here and people go, wow, that guy is really smart. What we try to do is get really smart people here who are not here to waste your time, and that's what we try to do. Now, Jack Maxey, you had an incident today, right?
Oh, it was great. I had to run back to my house early, right before 9:30 or so. And I'm rushing back, and all of a sudden this car honks at me, and the window rolls down and says, hey, are you Jack Maxey? I said, yes. And he said, man, I love the War Room, man. I watch that show every day, right here in D.C.
The appropriate response to that is, who's asking? Okay. Going back to stave off his land. Okay, we got a lot to go through. I want to get back to the scan. The Atlantic magazine, which, look, forget their politics. They're another magazine that's got very smart stuff. Remember, they're the first guys to come out with the Transition Integrity Project that Raheem had been talking about for months. They're the ones that are saying, hey, there's a war brewing on the evening of November 3rd. After this, we're going to actually analyze that tomorrow, over the weekend, and next week, because we're going to see if there's early voting, if the ballots, the mail-in ballots, and the early voting is cannibalizing. I understand they're sweating bullets now in the Democrat land. That's what he says things. It's about the young kids. Are the young kids actually going to show up? Are the young kids going to show up? And they may be cannibalizing their vote. And we're going to go through all that and give you the details and the analytics. Every hedge fund desk that's thinking about trading on this, you ought to think about what we have to say over the next 3 or 4 days about the analytics and back of this. But the Atlantic has an article up. We ought to pull it. And I don't know if you had a chance to read it in the break, but it's called, Trump's now focused on Biden, which he's best at. And people say, talk about the economy. Got to talk about the economy. I think you got to talk about his CCP virus thing. I think the president's got a great story to tell, given all the alternatives. I think he's just got to get in there and do it. But he's definitely got to go in and chop up Biden. And he's going to chop him up. He will. And the Atlantic is saying Trump is now on psychological warfare. hey, yes, okay. Remember, unrestricted warfare. You've got information, which has got psychological. You got economic. You got kinetic. Trump converges all three. He's going to do tonight's going to be kinetic and psychological combo platter.
This is a reverse BGY operation against the Bidens because we're exposing all of their corruption. And as the hedge fund guys, if you're listening to us, time to start reducing your exposure to Hong Kong and China, because as this information is revealed to the American people, they are going to demand that we decouple from that corrupt regime.
Yeah, Jack Maxey plays a doctor, also plays a financial advisor in here. Don't. So he used to be a financial. Right here, we're gonna have Dr. Yan on air. CNN, and by the way, CNN, you put 9 guys on a case with Dr. Yan. You know, the headline shouldn't be Steve Bannon's conspiracy theory Wuhan unravels. No, it's not unraveling. It's either a gain of function, which I've said it's a gain of function go awry, or part of a biological weapons program. The Five Eyes guy know it's a biological weapons program. That's an open secret. And here, China now on the march to make a vaccine. Boy, I'd like to be taking that vaccine, right?
In fact, Bolsonaro yesterday, he's got the same problem we do. He's got a sort of left wing of his country that is completely attached to the Chinese Communist Party, just like the Democrats here. And Bolsonaro came out yesterday and he said, under no circumstances are the Brazilian people going to purchase or take or be exposed to a Chinese communist vaccine after they gave this to the world.
Absolutely. It's a CCP virus. Dave Ramaswamy, do you think this is part of, you see this thing, they're bragging about their economy, they're bragging about how they came through. The elites in this country want an authoritarian situation where they got a handful of companies to control, right? They like the Chinese model, and they're going to start, particularly when we're going to have an election that's going to have a little hair on it, right? Let's be honest. We're going to have a little hair on it. It's going to be a little shaggy, this thing. And, it may get down to a throwdown afterwards. Never know. Could be. So is the model that they're preaching throughout the world, whereas India's got the largest democracy, you take a month to vote, but at the end of the day you have, 800 million people vote, and you get a leader like Modi. Is the Chinese model and what they did with this in their behavior in this vaccine? You got about a minute. What do you think? Where do you think we are?
For me, China's bragging about their so-called health diplomacy, but that's like somebody breaking your kneecaps and offering you crutches and wheelchairs at a discount. That's what they're trying to do. And I don't think any thinking member of any democratic country is going to go for that. We've already talked about the Alliance of Liberty, the alternative supply chain that's been built around Japan, Australia, the U.S., South Korea, going around China. And I think most people in the world would want to have a transparent, honest, well scientifically researched vaccine. Or I agree with you, Steve. It's not just, there's no one size silver bullet. It's a silver buckshot. There's going to be therapeutics, there's going to be vaccines, there's going to be PPE. So we got to present our people with a choice and a portfolio of options. And nobody's.
Why can't Trump did that? Why can't he explain it like that? It's a buckshot with targeted interventions, with therapeutics. Anyway, we'll get to it. Liz Yore. She's one of the toughest prosecutors in the country on child trafficking. She's going to opine on the Biden situation, plus talk about the Vatican. The CCP does a hostile takeover of the Vatican today, extension of the deal. Dr. Yan, all of it next hour.
America's favorite easy on, easy off energy compression socks just got better. Introducing CopperFit Energy Plus, the world's first graduated compression socks with a rich blend of ingredients found in the top moisturizing lotions and creams. These microencapsulated ingredients are infused into the compression fabric and are gradually released and absorbed by your movement. Motion-activated technology designed to hydrate and soften for all-day comfort. The more you move, the more CopperFit Energy Socks delivers.
I'm not thinking about that I have compression socks on. That simple fact that they feel better with them on than with them off makes me love these socks.
Our most advanced copper-infused compression fabric, made in FDA-approved manufacturing facilities, woven into our Easy On, Easy Off graduated compression sock to help reduce swelling and discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I feel that soothingness in my calves and in my ankles, but they can make my feet feel good after 300 miles on the road, and they got to be good for anybody else.
Enhanced compression around the arch and ankles for extra support and relief of muscle aches and pains. And a soft, shock shock-absorbing footbed for all-day comfort.
All that arch pain that I typically have is just relieved.
They are super comfortable.
They do the job. They're easy and they're effective. That's the whole point of wearing them.
Commercials always promise, promise, promise. This was something easy to try. Just put on a sock, see if it works. I have to say that I'm a fan.
The first ever easy on, easy off compression socks with hydrating ingredients, worn by thousands of essential workers across the U.S. Order your Energy Plus compression socks online now at GetEnergyPlus.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-515-8892. Order right now and get a second pair free.
I get compression, I get comfort, all in one sock.
Motorcycle guys appreciate the better technology. This is better technology.
Feel the power of